All right, it is October 3rd, 2025. We're talking about all things info, marketing, and paid advertising today on Ad Talk. I'm Dakota Hermes, founder of Ad Class. We're just going to jump right in. So right now it is the beginning of Q4. Q4 and info is an interesting time. If you run, courses, consultants, we're talking business to business services, things like that, anything that sells info and not physical products, you know that Q4 is historically not the friendliest of times for your offer. A lot of the e-com guys, the D2C guys, they're prepping for their huge sales in Q4. But a lot of the info guys on that other side, if they're not willing to discount down their service and sort of liquidate their all of their goodwill basically at the end of the year, then they're kind of just hanging on. And so today we're going to talk about some recent changes in Meta. The Andromeda update is a big one. What's working right now in info marketing based on my experience. We're running about 35 different brands right now in the info space, spending $4 or $5 million a month. So we're going to be talking about what's actually working for our brands. And then from there, we're going to be going into the Andromeda update as a whole. What does it mean? What is Meta doing? How is it changing what we should or shouldn't be doing in the paid ads account? And yeah, we'll see where else the conversation takes me. So it's just me today. I'm really going to just nerd out on kind of the current state of things going into Q4 here. So I want to start off with that Q4 topic. And so info space, I've been in here for 6 or 7 years now, and I've seen Q4 happen one of two ways. You're either a brand that does not pivot, adjust, or change anything in Q4. And if you're on that side, you're basically at the whim of CPMs, right? CPMs are going to go up, right? CPMs have gone up. They're continuing to go up. They will keep going up. In fact, I'll share my screen real quick on this tab. You can see here, this is just 74 of our accounts selected, right? So I actually excluded a couple of big launches we did just to not muddy the data, but you can see month over month, we're spending more. Obviously, we've kind of spent more as the years progressed, month over month, gotten some bigger spend going, but CPMs are down here. So you can kind of see CPMs on average, we're in the $35 range. And then even from August until now, they're ranging up to $54, right? And so this is going to continue happening. I expect this to keep going up through Q4, especially for info. As we get into Q4, they almost never go down. They almost always go up. And what that means is cost to advertise goes up, right? Even if your click-through rates are improving, which a lot of times they don't, but even if they do, they're probably not improving as much as CPMs go up going into Q4. I don't think I need to explain to you guys why that happens. Everybody's bidding right now going into Black Friday. People who don't normally spend on ads are spending. People who do spend on ads but are doing deals spend more. And the whole place just becomes kind of a who can outbid each other war. That being said, for info brands on that side who don't do anything, it's always a tough season for them. So book or call funnels suffer, call cost goes up, close rate a lot of time goes down, because if you think about buyer sentiment, think about who buys things in Q4. And I mean, this is economy beside, right? I'm not even talking about the crazy economy right now and what's going on there, but just Q4 in general, people typically are spending, but they're spending for others in Q4. Black Friday deals, maybe you'll get a TV or something like that for yourself. But for the most part, you're thinking about Christmas, you're thinking about holidays, you're thinking about time off, you're thinking about your family. If you have kids, you're buying stuff for your kids. Money is tight and you're not usually investing it in yourself. And so a lot of the info guys and girls who are selling courses and make money online sort of stuff, and even the people who are doing B2B, they feel the pressure of Q4 because even though money is being spent, it's not usually self-educating spend. It's not people buying courses and trying to improve their self. That happens in January. January is sort of the Q4 of the info world, in my opinion. That said, there are ways to kind of pivot and make something work for info in Q4. And I want to talk about a couple of those strategies. So number one is actually pretty straightforward, but it's new offers, right? So even if you're not willing to discount down your high ticket program or even your low ticket program that you're currently running, that's fine. But people are expecting to see promos in Q4. They're expecting to see you offer something that you don't normally offer. A lot of people's brain goes to discounts right away because that's what Black Friday has kind of taught us to do. But in the info space, a new offer can replace that sort of need to discount. So if you think of it this way, if you're going to market with, book a call funnel and a VSL, and that's like what's crushing for you, or maybe it's a webinar, that's fine. But let's supplement that now with a lead magnet or an offer that you normally wouldn't give away. Normally it's just like a resource that you have internal, or you give it to your students or whatever it is. Let's give that away and make an entire ad campaign around giving that away as sort of like a bonus offer for Black Friday only, right? So I see this happen a lot of times as like a lead magnet, but those lead magnets are like evergreen. And so, they might do well for a couple of months and then they fatigue over time. But Black Friday or any other holiday is the perfect time to run a seasonal promo for something that you normally wouldn't give away, and give it away and actually do a hard cutoff, right? Like only November only, I'm giving away my XYZ system that helps you do this thing that you really want to do. After November, turn it off. Like, don't be one of the info bros that's like, oh, it's fake scarcity. No, like actually turn it off, right? And people will hold you to that going forward. People notice those things, but that will actually help you get in the door for an info offer and reduce some of your costs while other things might get more expensive in Q4. So that's one thing that I like to help people think through. On the other side of it, there's a ton that you can do with email and owned media, essentially, right? And so if you've been running ads the entire year and you're generating leads or emails or booked calls or whatever it is, right? Like if you have a database full of people, you should be really doing everything in your power to clean the pipeline going into Q4. You should be sending more emails. You should be thinking through promos that you can send to your email list. My favorite example of a promo that we've ever done, we've done this for a few clients now, is the price increase promo. So, we talk about like when they zig, you zag, right? Everybody is discounting in Q4, but think about the power of increasing prices. And here's kind of how I would position this. And you can do this all via email, by the way. You never have to run an ad that even talks about this. But going into Q4, if you know that your goal eventually is to raise prices on your program, maybe it's your high ticket program, your coaching program, whatever it is, you can set a deadline and say, I'm going to raise prices in January. Like you've been meaning to do it. Okay, great. This is a perfect excuse for a price increase promo. Let's say you're charging $5,000 a month right now for your coaching program and you want to charge $7,800. I said a month. It could be a one-time payment as well. What you can do is send an email promo to your list, basically saying like, hey guys, we're going to do the craziest thing we've ever done yet. This year is the very last time you can get our program for the current price that we've been selling it for the last 2 years. We are actually increasing prices come January. But if you book a call with my team this month or next month, we will grandfather you into the existing pricing. And because we're upgrading the whole program next month or in January, you can actually grandfather in the old pricing and get all the benefit of the new program that we're going to be releasing in January. This is a really cool promo because ultimately it's urgency, scarcity, it works. And going into January, everyone is already primed and they understand that you're going to be increasing prices. So it's not like a shock to anyone if they get on a sales call in January and you're charging more than you used to charge. We have seen this absolutely crush, especially for people like in the pipeline. So sales leads that maybe are on the fence and not closing, people who just have not, decided to actually work with you yet. So this is a really cool offer that I would recommend running up in Q4 as well. So those are kind of the like info-y sort of offers that you could push in Q4 to kind of help you supplement your income while ads get more expensive. And this is primarily for people who are relying on ads for most of their traffic, which a lot of people in the info space are. But yeah, Q4 is an interesting time for sure. But I want to pivot into the latest news from Meta and kind of the Meta Andromeda update. So this is kind of probably the biggest update that Meta has released in quite some time when it comes to the ad algorithm. And it's nothing new. I mean, we've been talking about it this year, but it seems that there have been a ton of outages lately on the Meta platform. I don't know if you guys pay attention to the RSS feeds that show when like ad creation is going down or ad delivery is going down, but Meta has had multiple outages in the last 3 months as compared to the prior 6 months where there were not a lot of outages. And almost always when they have these outages, it's because they're tweaking something in the algorithm. And when it happens, you notice spend spikes, or you overspend, or you underspend, or CPM spike. And when CPM spike, click-through rate goes down. And, there's all these like little levers that Meta's pulling on the back end, trying to figure out, how do I send your ad to the right person to convert? And normally over time, it all corrects itself. However, this time, I just showed you the shared screen of the CPMs increasing. I think the Andromeda update is a lot to blame for the premature increasing in CPMs that I'm seeing across all of our accounts. And so I don't know exactly what's going on behind the scenes, but I want to talk you through like what we're seeing, and then maybe what you can do about it. So what is Andromeda? Well, it's basically a next gen like ad retrieval engine is what they're calling it. So this is not necessarily like the algorithm entirely, but it's the way that the algorithm shows ads to the right people at the right time. So supposedly it's basically this like neural network that is, way more complex, way more at scale, pulling through all the data from all the advertisers and all the users, and kind of like, it's like the matrix of how the ads get shown to people. Now, its promise is that it's going to be better, right? That the ads will be smarter. People will see ads that they like more often. That it will have like more basically congruence between what a person likes and the ads they see. And so people will enjoy the platform more. That's what they want. And obviously they also want advertisers to spend more. So that's their goal. They claim that there's like an uptick in ad quality, an uptick in ad recall, that all of that is good and it's working. But for info funnels, it's proving to be interesting. In some accounts, it's improved our results, and in others, it has not improved our results at all. And we've had to like throw stuff against the wall to make it work. But really, the big kind of like 5 things that we've noticed from Andromeda is that number one, creative more than ever is kind of the lever that we pull in order to get the ads in front of the right people. So obviously, in the past, targeting, audience interests, lookalikes, all of that stuff has been a pretty big factor in running Meta ads, at least for, the last 6 years or so. But coming into this year, we've noticed, at least at our company, that it's not nearly as big of a factor anymore. And Andromeda is basically to blame for that, because Andromeda is taking the creative and all of the metrics associated with it, and it is using that to show your ad to the right people, or who it claims to be the right people. Of course, they're still using attribution windows to see who converts and things like that, but there's much more emphasis on the actual creative metrics. So the hook rate and the hold rate, how long people watch your videos, if people click on your images, if they comment, like things like that, much more taken into account now than they were before. And so what this means is that you really need a lot of diversity in your creative. What I'm noticing is that volume, like going 30 hook variations on one video, is not nearly as important as 30 unique variations of, videos, as an example. Why? Because people convert on different types of videos is what they're seeing. Now more than ever, there's insane diversity when it comes to short form content. If you open up TikTok or any, even Sora, the new, ChatGPT, OpenAI video engine app, you're going to see just a crazy amount of creative diversity. And so ads need that as well, because diversity is what kind of feeds Andromeda. It does not want you to do 30 variations of the first 3 seconds of a video. Instead, it wants you to make 30 new videos, right? Obviously more work, but that is what, Andromeda is doing in our ad accounts right now, at least. Because if you do multiple hook variations, what I'm noticing is it puts all the spend behind one of them almost always. So it doesn't help as much as it used to. That said, you're supposed to also be doing basically fewer ad sets and combining more creative in those ad sets. Now, I will say I actually still am seeing a lot of success with ABO budgeting. So I will put a campaign and I will put, 2 or 3 creatives together in an ad set, and I'll do 30 ad sets and put them at, enough test budget to like see what's working after a few days. Maybe it's $100 a day, maybe, based on the account, it might change. And I will still do that because I like to see the metrics, the click through rate, the view through rate, the hooks, the hook stop percentage, the scroll, retention percentage, all the metrics. That said, Andromeda is basically saying like, hey, in scale campaigns, you need to group all these things together. And so it's interesting because, sometimes every ad account is different. I'm a believer in that. Sometimes you want to group them all together, and other times you may not, based on what's working for you. But Andromeda and Meta are saying, put it all in one thing. We'll find the right people. Interesting. I think also you're going to see Andromeda really heavily favor ad sets and ads when they're grouped together, more than in the past. Like, we've always made the joke, like, you put 5 ads in an ad set and 90% of the budget's going to go to one. That's still true. It's actually more true now than it used to be. I mean, I'm seeing it all the time. Anytime I have grouped like 3 or 4 ads, it seems like one gets all the spend. And that's essentially what Andromeda is doing on the algorithm side. So those are the main things. I would say the last thing that they want you to use is the Advantage Plus suite of products. So we don't do a lot of it because frankly, it's very just heavy AI, just not unique stuff that it tries to add to your ads. But Meta is claiming that using Advantage Plus tools at the creative level, like the Advantage Plus Creative Suite, should help your performance. And, I'm still not seeing that in the ad accounts. We've tested it multiple times. What ends up happening when you turn that on is that your client sees an ad and they don't like the way that it looks because it's some weird happy birthday song over their ad, and they send it to you and you're like, oh, but that's just Meta. And they're like, I don't care. Don't do that. So be careful out there, because Advantage Plus is getting turned on all the time, even when you don't want it to. But all of that said, what is important in the info space based on this information now, right? What should you be doing in your ad accounts? So here's where I'll start. Number one, data, right? We already talked about creative. I'm sure we can go deeper into creative, but data is very important now in your ad accounts. And what I mean by that is you need to be sending clean data from clean sources back to your ad accounts with as much speed as you can. So if you have a CRM that has clean data, it should be sending that data directly from the CRM into the ad account. This is first party data that you own, that you are supplementing into Meta. If you're still relying on browser-based tracking, like pixel tracking only, that is not clean enough. The match rate is too low. People are opting out of that tracking at too high of a rate for it to be super effective for you. So I will say the stronger the data that you're sending back to the ad account, the better your results will be. That said, you're also going to want to optimize for the right events in your ads. So, in call funnels, as an example, let's say you're running, VSL funnel, classic VSL funnel. You have an opt-in, you're collecting lead. You have an application, you're collecting submit application. You have a schedule, you're collecting schedule, right? Optimizing for the furthest down funnel event that you have enough volume for is going to pan out in quality way more than trying to get volume on the top of funnel event. I've seen it time and time and time again. This is true for purchase funnels as well. If you're doing a low ticket funnel that has an initiate checkout and then a purchase, don't optimize for initiate checkout. I promise you it will not pan out in higher revenue. If your data is good for the purchase event, that is always going to win. It just will. I've seen it every single time I've tested it. That said, the data quality has to be there. So that is the first step. Conversion API is your friend. Meta will literally get on calls with you and help you set it up if you don't know how. But that is going to be huge. I think another big piece here on Andromeda is that stuff that didn't used to work, creative that you tested and failed, or funnels and offers that you may have tested in the past and failed, you could actually retry those now and you might see better results. The algorithm is very different right now than it was even a year ago. And you might see that ads that used to perform or don't perform or didn't perform might perform now. And so it's worth retesting. Absolutely. Yeah. Those are the big things on the signal side. From, another thing that I would say is the campaign structure is probably a big talking point. So, I'll just tell you what's working for us right now. Basically, we're doing all of our creative testing and audience testing in ABO. That's going to be, smaller budgets, daily budgets, and we are essentially just testing one variable at a time. So whether that's the audience or the creative, we're segmenting that out one at a time, and we are getting as much data as we can in order to make an informed decision on, is this something we should throw into a scale campaign? For our scale campaigns, On the info side, this is different from the D2C side, because on the info side, we don't typically modify a scale campaign once it's created. The only thing we'll really modify is the budgets. We don't throw in new ads into that scale campaign almost ever. Every time we've tried to do that, it does not improve results. The spend gets kind of wonky. So what I do instead is I do new CBO scale campaigns every month or so, and I cycle in new winning ads. So I will keep the ones running as long as they're performing, but I will always have a new CBO campaign going in a new month that's a winning audience with new winning ads based on my testing framework. What I found then is that, like, over the course of several months, you can go back and compare and contrast, your performance in a much more segmented way, and you don't take spend away from your previous winners by introducing new ones. So that's something that's still working for us at a high level, and that's kind of how we're approaching account structure right now. Yeah, so those are the main things with like the Andromeda update. I think overall, your creative structure, how you write new creatives, how you script, edit new creatives is the biggest like change in our ad accounts entirely, because in the past we focused a lot on new hooks. So we would take winners, introduce new hooks, and sort of like use that as our main creative testing. And we would do new angles maybe once a month or once every other month, a group of new angles. But now with AI video, with, all of the creative resources that we have, I actually think new angles in new sort of like video settings, like whether you're recording it in your office or outside, or, just kind of switching up that piece is more important than ever, because Andromeda is really using that creative diversity as a really big starting point for who sees your ads in general. So on that note, let me make a huge statement that many will probably disagree with, but I don't actually believe that hook rate, retention rate, and click-through rate matter as much as they used to. Let me explain. I actually only want to make hooks in my ads that keep the right people watching past a certain point. I used to think that this was true for only click-through rate, right? Like, if I'm running ads for, hey, plumbers, do you need more clients, right? A really simple example. I only want plumbers to click on that ad. Duh. Sure, it'll be more expensive. There's fewer plumbers in the world than there are anybody else, probably. If I wanted to go mass market, I would get cheaper clicks. But the plumbers who click are going to go on to actually buy my product, and I'm selling to only plumbers. So like, I only want plumbers to click. So that's always been true. But now, more than ever, I actually only want plumbers to watch my ads. So people are always like, oh, that hook rate isn't good enough, right? It's like if I do a direct call out of my ad and it's like, hey, plumbers, check this out. And then everybody else scrolls because they're not plumbers. Your hook rate's not going to look that good, right? It's going to look like your ad is underperforming. However, Andromeda uses all of the signals of your ad to find more people to engage with your ad. And so if only plumbers are engaging and watching your ad, that's actually a good thing, because it's going to show your ad to more plumbers, right? I'm not saying you shouldn't try to improve your hook rate then with plumbers. You should, and you'll have a baseline for how to do that. But as soon as you open the door to people outside of plumbers, you're having the wrong people watch your ads. And although there is a benefit to that, lower CPMs and, shareability or whatever, you're going to eat that cost down the road at some point when the wrong people enter your funnel. So this is a huge piece that I'm thinking through now, is like, how do I creatively call out the right people while making my ad super engaging? So yeah, I think that's something we're seeing. Now, two other things we're seeing right now. I've talked about this before. Number one, Advantage Plus targeting with Andromeda is super. It emphasizes heavily your existing following. I'll put it that way. So the page that you run from matters. So I've actually split tested this a couple times, where I'll run from like a page that has a big following, and I'll run the same ads creative funnel, everything from a page that does not have a big following, and we'll see drastically different results. The reason for that is that Andromeda and Advantage Plus targeting is using your existing sort of like page, metrics, followers, engagers, all of that as a starting point for who to show your ads to. So if you don't want that to happen, you should be excluding those people from your ads. You should be excluding page engagers, excluding, anybody that's engaging with your ads, so that doesn't keep happening. That said, because of that, frequency is higher than ever in our accounts. It's something that I'm still trying to figure out how to get down, honestly, without sacrificing results. But like, because Andromeda really focuses on internal sort of like brand metrics first and like who's engaging and all of that, frequency rides up, sometimes past 2 or 3, even on cold campaigns. And so that's something that I'm still figuring out how to remedy without sort of sacrificing metrics. But it's something to be aware of, absolutely. And then for, the other side of that is when frequency goes up, CPMs are not the metric that you should be focusing on. It's actually, there's a metric in Meta that you can pull, which is cost per 1,000 account center accounts reached. And that's so essentially cost per reach, right? Cost per 1,000 reach instead of impressions. And that will show you a more clear picture of what is it costing you to see for a new unique person to see your ads. Because frequency is riding up because of the Andromeda and Advantage Plus updates, that's a metric that will really, really help you understand, are your ads getting more expensive or not? So hopefully this has been helpful for you. This is a brain dump of everything I'm thinking about right now in the ad accounts and Andromeda, especially as it pertains to InfoSpace. This is really like one of those updates that's going to demand some restructuring of the way you think about media buying. So, from a really high level, it used to be like a very button pressy type job, right? You could be a ninja media buyer and do all these little tweaks in the ad account. But today, that does not matter nearly as much as it used to. It is much more about the right messaging behind the right offer to the right people who will end up converting. So your media buyers and everyone that's running your marketing should be thinking of angles more than they are thinking of optimizations, in my opinion. So the old tactics aren't going to be working anymore, especially going into 2026. So hopefully this has been helpful for you. I'm going to end it here because I'm tired from brain dumping all that stuff. But if you want to follow along with me, I'm on Twitter at Dakota Hermes. This YouTube channel will continue to get some love moving forward. But hope you guys all have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.